You're listening to the Hockey Podcast Network. New shows every day. Find us at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Welcome to episode 38 of season 2 of Red Wings Rant. Of course, where tirades and impassioned pleas about your Detroit Red Wings finally have a home. Quick little ditty about that Blackhawks game. Not so much fun to watch. 4-0 loss, as the 4-1 victory was. But the episode today will mostly feature our conversation with Darren McCarty. Of course, joined us to talk. Really, it was really swell to have him tune in for a post-WrestleMania conversation, which I did edit out. So all of you Red Wings fans that were worried you were going to have to listen to that, most of that is going to be saved for a pro wrestling podcast. A couple of little ditties in there. So if you are a wrestling fan, you'll enjoy the beginning of the episode. And then we're going to dive into that Mantha trade, McCarty's feelings on it, and a little bit more. So as always, before we get into all that, let us get into some of the business, and we'll take care of that right now. It's just Matt, so this will be a little bit different. This weekend, UFC 261 is sure to be can't miss event. Every punch, kick, and knockout means so much more with the DraftKings lineup on the line. DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of UFC, is giving you a shot at huge cash prizes for this weekend's fight. DraftKings is offering all players a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. If you haven't tried it yet, fantasy MMA is easy to play. Just pick 6 fighters, stay under the salary cap, pile up points for advances, takedowns, and so much more. There's just no better way to put your MMA knowledge to the test than to compete for a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Plus, don't forget about basketball, hockey. What else are we doing here? Where DraftKings has even more money up for grabs throughout the week. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. Download the DraftKings app now and use promo code THPN to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes throughout the week. That's promo code THPN to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes only at DraftKings. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for your details. All right, folks. Again, that's promo code THPN, always in reference to the Hockey Podcast Network. Being that it's just Matt here today, thought I'd at least do what I like showing off or talking about on our normal episodes, and it's really just going to be taking a quick peek at the natural stat trick page. This will be my my co-host until we jump into that Darren McCarty interview. But I just thought at least we could take a look at some of the advanced analytics from that Red Wings Blackhawks game, because it's so baffling to me that we actually lost this game. So what we're taking a look at right now is the fact that the Red Wings won the possession battle. They won the scoring chance battle with almost doubling. More than doubling on a 5-on-5 basis the expected goals for over the expected goals against the Blackhawks. I mean, if we were to say that analytics are king, this is where we can figure out what's going on in a game without even having to watch it. You would look at this and just think that we completely dominated. Even the high danger scoring chances, 12-4, 12 high danger scoring chances for your Detroit Red Wings to the 4 the entire game for the Chicago Blackhawks. Just unbelievable. I think the last thing we want to do is like harp on Bernier, because one of the things we always pull out is what did our goaltender do in regards to the expected goals against, and did he give up more goals against than he was expected to, or less? Because this really was a game about our defense just picking and choosing the spots that they were just going to let an absolute banger of a scoring chance come through. So this wasn't about piling up the scoring chances. This was just about giving up the juiciest of all juicy scoring chances. And the funny thing is too, you get an empty net goal in there for the Blackhawks, and that's usually where it gets piled on top the expected goals for your opponent, because that is a juicy chance. You get an empty net chance. That's where it's at, and that still wasn't enough to even cut into this 5-on-5, or cut into the game's total of expected goals chances. And the Red Wings just 5-on-5 from, again, an analytics perspective, from having the puck, from piling on shots. They I'm going to say dominated, but this is where the decision making comes in. This is why we lost this game. This is where you're not releasing the puck at the proper point. You're doing it enough to where you can pile things up and you can make it look like you're doing the right thing from an analytics perspective, where if you pile enough pucks onto the net, that's going to help that number for the game, the expected goals for number, to actually go up in your favor. So if it's not those right choices, if it's not the right turnovers, if it's not the right guy taking those shots, that's where things start to fall apart. And I bring that up because I pointed this out on Twitter last night. It might actually be better for me to pull up that Twitter page. But when you take a look at this entire game, we only had four skaters from an expected goals for percentage that were under 50%. So that means every other skater on the ice besides these four, and you can see them now on my screen. So if you're watching this on YouTube, Dylan Larkin, Philip Zadina, Danny DeKaiser, Jakob Vrana. That's right. three guys. I mean, if Vrana is really on the bottom of the list, like, you want to see his expected goals for pretty high, and you would expect, based on his past performances, the expected goals against to also be pretty high. But when these guys, Larkin, Zadina, and even though we don't know Vrana very well, we could still assume he shouldn't always be on the bottom of this list. But when these guys are on the bottom of your list, you're gonna have a bad time. You know, go back to the old South Park reference of pizza and French fry. When you're skiing, if you don't follow those rules, you're gonna have a bad time. And of course, if you're not going to pizza or French fry on the ski hill, you're going to have a bad time. And if Larkin, Zadina, and Vrana are your three worst forwards from an analytics perspective, 4-0 seems more reasonable. But again, we're taking a look at this game from top to bottom, and this is where you start to see the difference between when you have those analytics going in your favor and when the talent depth hurts you. Because this should not have been 4-0. This very reasonably could have still been a loss by a couple of goals. And we do know that, putting in the fourth wasn't necessarily where it should stand. I mean, 3-0 is probably a more reasonable way to look at this. But again, the fact of the matter is, I think we got a little bit lucky, especially a couple of games ago. We talked about in the last podcast where the analytics were against us winning in any shape or form, and we pulled out a victory. Oh no. There's still not much to pull out here, but just the reminder that and maybe we were breaking the numbers, breaking analytics for a couple of games there. And this is just a good way to bring us right back down to earth, I think. Let's we'll go into this Dallas series. I think it's very possible that this could be split 50-50 the way the Stars are playing this season. It seems like the more I listen to those podcasts that cover a national perspective, everybody is just kind of waiting for Dallas to flip a switch, turn it on. So there is that element that the Red Wings are still last place in this division. We do still have quite the talent gap. And what I don't want to have happen, but is very possible, is that Dallas was waiting for the series that's coming up shortly. And they might decide to turn it on. They had their way with us earlier on in the season, where it looked like, Dallas did come to play this season, but obviously it didn't continue in that direction. So I would say just brace for impact. Could be something where any team that is, I mean, they were in the Stanley Cup Finals last year, so to laugh at the notion of them being a playoff contender is that's your fault. So just take it as it is. You're talking about a playoff contender. For them to see this series coming up, you got to think that they're gunning for it, that they're ready for it. So I would say just brace for impact. But this is also something too where the Red Wings get to play spoiler. So either way, I think we'll see if that first game stays tight. We'll probably just see a nice tight series. But if not, oof, I don't know. I don't know if we're ready for a roller coaster, but that might be the stronger bet to put your money down on. Is this going to flip flop game to game? Maybe. All right. So with that, I think that does us well enough to prep us for the next few games. Wrap up what was our longest winning streak, taking a big hit in a 4-0 loss to the Chicago Blackhawks. So now, why don't we head into this interview with Darren McCarty? Just a quick heads up again. We're going to talk a little bit of pro wrestling. We talk about the legacy of Darren McCarty. We talk about his new brands that are getting out there. Don't miss on April 20th. Hint, hint, wink, wink, 420. McCarty's got a big event going on in Flint. If you check out his Twitter account, you'll find all the details. And of course, it's associated with the Woodward Sports Network as well. So you can find all that there. But yeah, this is a fun conversation. Something for me growing up, you can't get away from Darren McCarty's legacy. And for me, as a huge Red Wings fan, being a kid growing up and seeing this guy as put up on a pedestal as a god of Detroit hockey, and I mean that. It was an absolute joy to really. I mean, we've met Darren a couple of times, and it's always been one of those things where it's like, wow, this is Darren McCarty. This is a whole nother thing to sit down and talk with him. Yeah, I think there were a couple of times where Darren assumed that we were heading in one direction with our thoughts. Anybody that's a longtime listener of the show knows we don't hate Jeff Blashill. Hopefully knows we don't hate Steve Yzerman. We might have caught Darren off guard a few times. Maybe it's just the title of the show is Red Wings Rant, and he thought we were going to rail into him. So there were a couple of instances where it got a little heavy. So you guys can keep an ear out for that. Darren, if you're listening right now, I think we might have led you in the wrong direction. We might have led you on a little bit there. It was good fun. But yeah, ultimately this is just a joy to record. Thanks again, Darren, for coming on, and make sure you listen all the way to the end there so you can get all the deets on Darren McCarty's upcoming events, and of course his brand of cannabis that's out there. So he has his mission, he has his reasons for doing it, and man, if they aren't the most noble reasons to start a cannabis brand, I don't know what is. But I hope you guys enjoy that as well. So thank you for tuning in yet again, and enjoy our conversation with Darren McCarty. All right, everybody, he is the Stanley Cup clinching, 4 ring wearing, cannabis curating, Lemieux Murray Detroit legend. He is Darren McCarty. There it is. There's that logo right there. You know what? This is way off topic, right from the get-go. How cool is it to you that when you Google your own name, that immediately the Darren McCarty cannabis logo pops up first? How awesome is that?
Let's just take a minute and let it sink in for you guys. What do you think, dude? That's just great. That's the biggest joke, like the biggest. I always say, whether it's God, your higher power, whatever greater than yourself that you believe in, that you aren't the end all be all. That's the biggest joke because of the fact that this is for all having all the cups and scoring the goal and stuff, and I would never change that. But I know what my purpose in the bigger picture of it, and that I'm the most proud that I have my own cannabis brand that I have. My dad always told me is if you don't like it, do something about it. And this is it. And I've aligned myself. I'm lucky to be in Michigan where it's forward thinking. I like to say that the people in Michigan, it's about common sense. That's why gambling's legal and cannabis is legal. But it's the medicine of it. So to be able to see that, it like the legit, you got to know that when it's got my name on it, and I just released my my first strain, my first seed. It's called Black Eye. So pretty much when you smoke Darren McCarty's Black Eye, it'll feel like you got punched in the face. Closest thing I can give you to a black eye, but it's you know, and if you're a cannabis enthusiast, it's Purple Punch 2.0 crossed by Face Off OG by Fruity Pebbles. So that's the one that's the one. Also too, the difference, see how it works, because my licensing with Pincana, so it's like signing a deal with the Detroit Red Wings. So Pincana, the largest seed to sale here in Michigan, and it's the growers, the Radical Genetics guys that grow my flower and grow their flowers. So the pre-rolls are stuff that is out of their repertoire. As it takes a long time. This plant, it's resilient and patient. So I got a CBD roll-on that is e-commerce that you can get at darrenmccarty.com, and then the rest of it, as the laws work, you can get them. It's throughout dispensaries and through Pincana in Michigan, and I couldn't be more proud because this plant saved my life and what it means to everybody else. So it's the coolest shit in the world. To answer if you want to know, right?
Yeah. No,
it's the next best thing to standing out there in a full crowd WrestleMania to like an entrance, right? Like the other day you saw.
Look at this guy with the segues. He doesn't even need us.
Oh, you guys like wrestling?
So fucking lutely. I got to caveat this with the Brothers of Discussion.
Yeah.
Whichever one of you tweeted like a couple weeks ago or whatever like that. But somebody let D-Mac know that we're all about hockey and about fucking wrestling, and then weed too. So we got to get on that, and that's as easy as it is in how you connect to whatever else what we're doing. So to tell people that's as easy as it is. And if you say wrestling around me, dude, that's number one. That's my favorite sport.
Come on, we just said WrestleMania, Darren. What'd you think of Bianca's big moment? She got her coronation.
Yeah, you know what? But that also goes to show the greatness of Sasha Banks. You're not only the match, and if you're, I'm a storyline guy, right? So the way the storyline played out, and you look at the way that match played out with the hair and everything, and wow, the only thing harder than that slap of the braids across Sasha Banks' chest was Shohei Ohtani's home run the other day that, was immense. So what I'm saying, and when you saw the you can't fake that. That's like the chair shots. That's why you have to respect, and why they're my favorite sport is because I can never be disappointed, because it's not, real life, but it's also too, when you look and see these guys are the greatest stuntmen and women in the world.
Here's the question I was going to ask though. Darren, you've got any wrestler, any generation, you're giving them hockey skill. I want you to put somebody on the grind line. You could replace Drapes, Maltby. Who's going to fit the best? Who would you want to see out of every pro wrestler you've ever seen? You're giving them hockey skill. Who's joining the grind?
Do you mean, does the goon's not part of this, right? Because
no, the
goon is first round pick.
So you want an irritating you want a Maltby replacement, so somebody who's as irritating and talented that you sort of have to like Chris Jericho's not only one of my favorite wrestlers all the time, because Kid Rock told me a long time ago, what makes a great band isn't, the bells and whistles and whatever. It's duration. It's longevity. It's reinvention. Follow Chris Jericho, not only professionally, but personally, we're the same age, and to see different things like that, I think he'd be a perfect Maltz replacement, because he can play it as hard as you want. He's got some cheap shot in him, but he's also got some finish, and his old man's Ted Irvine.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So he's got hockey in his blood. So it only makes sense, right? It only makes sense. But, I'll tell you, one of my buddies, Terry Guerin, Rhino, I'd like Rhino to sit on the end of the bench.
Yeah, Dearborn boy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like him to sit on the end of the bench. He doesn't have to play much. He doesn't have to skate, but he can just sit there and growl at people, because you know what? He can be that size and stuff like that, if stuff goes down, I want him in my corner. But no, Jericho just, because he's got grind line mentality, right? And that means, the greatest thing, we could all play, but our hockey sense, and we were all on the same page, right? That's the thing. So he could plug in, and you see that in wrestling, right? Where it's the guys when they get in, and then who are the great dance partners? And it's not, a lot of times it's not the guys that get along, but they can bring something out in each other in the ring. And, so the grind line goes to Chris Jericho, the demo god, for sure.
Yeah. Well, should we bore this up and start talking about dumb old hockey?
Yeah, I guess since you guys want to rant.
Oh wait, before we go away, I gotta ask you one thing.
Listen, Uncle Darren's here to put everybody back into their fucking spot. All I gotta lead it with is when Steve Eisman says 4 or 5 years, that's not 4 or 5 games or 4 or 5 months. Sit down, buckle in, let him do his job, and then you sit here right now as the Wings are playing with the brand new guys that he just robbed Washington for. It's unfortunate Mantha's gone.
Yeah.
But in return, could be the start to something great. So
yeah,
I'll lead it with this. Do not, and I will not, until he makes a move and you think that the goaltender in that net is the guy he's going to bank on to bring you a championship. Hence, Vasilevsky and the Lightning. But how long did that take? That's an 8-year draft period. So I don't expect, unless there's somebody in the pipe that I don't know of, to come down, that it'll be a trade for somebody or a signing like we did it back in the day with Hasek or something like that. What he did in this trade not only is accumulating draft picks, which he said himself, if you listen, it's great to accumulate, but you still have to do the job and draft the right guys. So we're moving in the right direction. So until then, we got all moving parts, and they don't know why. If we don't know, they don't know exactly what we have yet, or what they have, or who's here or who's not. But let's look and see what we have compared to where we were a year ago at this point, right?
Yeah, like I was gonna say, how much how dumb are we, my brother and I, for getting ourselves involved in probably the two worst, or I shouldn't say worst, but the hardest Twitter communities to begin speaking to. We chose pro wrestling Twitter, and then right now Detroit Red Wings Twitter is just fisticuffs all night. Just incredible bouts.
Bunch of fucking. You're all idiots then if you're fighting right now, because it's like, why the fuck? Here's the whole thing, right? I fought for a living.
It's like landmines.
Paid. Right? Now you're out in the back beating the living shit out of each other in front of nobody doing nothing. Why don't you wait until there's accountability when it should be here? Right. And it's not now. Listen, the bigger thing is not whether to win games or lose games or whatever, because the thing is to figure out how the hell we can't finish last to get the first fucking pick. So it doesn't fucking matter. We're getting screwed anyways in the draft. So you let the man himself, right, do his fucking job. And then he does shit like he just did. Oh my God. So all the rest of you fucking ass clowns out there, come and talk to me, right? I should have at least 4 Stanley Cups and the Cannabis Cup by the fucking time these guys are ready to start making their run. And I only give myself another year before I win that. So can we please, all of us, just enjoy the process, right? Because I'll tell you this, there's a very big chance that if we find out, and maybe it's a Verana is the type of player that a Larkin needs to play with, why don't we just take some time for the rest of this year and let these kids try to figure it out a little bit more as we move? Do you know? What there? Whoa. Oh, across the pond? Oh, they play hockey across. Oh, yeah. Oh, more cider? Oh, yeah. Oh, he's just wrecking dudes over in Sweden in the first. Wait, isn't that the kid that that Stevie drafted? And yeah. Sit down, shut up. Let him do his job. Wait till him, Raymond, Valeno, guys. We're in great shape. Please sit back. Right now is not the time to get upset about the Wings part of it.
Thank you.
Get into the wrestling part of it. That's why we started off with wrestling. Because this should be a nice job, Steve. Way to do what I told everybody you were going to do and make me look good.
Can I ask you something, Darren? Like when the trade happened, most reasonable people were doing cartwheels. Okay.
Here, stop, because this is how I heard it live on the air doing my afternoon Monday to Friday hook show on Woodward Sports. All right, I will tell you the same thing I told my buddy Mike Putnam, right? When he asked me, is there a chance Mantha could get traded? And I said, I don't think so unless there's a too good to be true deal. Guess what? It's a too good to be true deal. You got Vrana at 24, who's can put up the same amount of points and has won a Stanley Cup, right? And he's been tutored by Ovi, but even more important, on the line with TJ Oshie. I don't know if you know TJ Oshie, Captain America, Mr. Breakaway himself. That's the kid you want. And I saw a tweet that he said, I'm sorry losing you, Liney. And I like that because it comes from pedigree, right? So you look at that, plus stockpiled some more draft choices and picked up, well, I mean, nobody wants Dick Panic, but Richard Panic is better. So, I mean, so the Wings got a little Dick Panics. So that's the worst part.
Happens to the best of us. Yeah.
Yeah, they're right. Exactly. They don't sound like Dick Panic, PI. But no, so there's the too good to be true deal, right? That would move that in so I say, okay, right? That boom, everything explained. You don't get 99% approval rating. The only one you didn't get approval from is Mantha's mom. So, because she liked it here. But other than that, that's what I'm saying. And that's the difference. Yeah. And not only with that, you look at back in the small little things, that little move of trading Brian Lashoff and filtering through the money of Savard down to Tampa, right? There's an intricate part that a lot of us don't understand in the salary cap and on how things can maneuver. So the fact that Ryan Martin and the capologists and stuff, that's the big part that Steve Yzerman and the Detroit Red Wings are on top of, is knowing the money to be spent, knowing what they can maneuver with, knowing how, to take different things and move different things. And that's something, it's the same thing. In Stevie, I trust. And you guys there shouldn't even be a question, because even if you weren't born, your parents and your grandparents watched this guy grow up and do everything in front of you, right? Now, it's the same thing. We go across the road to the Lions, right? First time, even in my life, where it feels like we got some friggin' accountability to be making decisions. That's all it is. Do you like the guys that are making decisions for your team? And I couldn't think of a better guy for the Red Wings.
I mean, the scuttlebutt around the entire league is, if Yzerman is ringing you up, you might want to not even pick up at this point. Like if you're a rival GM, because that deal was so out of control. But I mean, we didn't even get to the fact that now we have Panic, who we could expose to Seattle, and Seattle can say no. But I mean,
right. You got to understand there's so much more going into it. And Steve Yzerman, because here's
Panic or Nielsen. Man, this team is so protected.
Get rid of both of them.
They're so protected.
Like this was such a huge fat onion.
Have you listen? You got that. You're talking about the expansion. So I heard Steve Yzerman's interview the other day. There's things they got to look for ahead to. Also, some of these guys are martyrs, right? You keep them on the roster so you can when nobody wants them. Absolutely. They didn't want them at trade deadline. So keeping guys you might have traded. It's the same thing as dangling them out there when you don't have to expose a different guy. So this is above the rim. I imagine it's a lot like what's going on even more in the Pistons land with Troy Weaver. He's just hacking and whacking all these guys. And I'm not a basketball guy, but it's about getting their culture and their guys. And I said this the other day, go through the roster and who are Yzerman guys and who are Holland guys. Right. Go seriously look and see what it is. Did you know Adam Ernie's a Yzerman guy from even in Tampa? Guys that he goes out and gets on top of things. Those are the guys that he puts the stock in.
Well,
yeah,
we had
a
thing the other day where after Yzerman made his move, one of our well, we won't say his name. One of our favorite talking heads was asking Steve
why won't
about
you say his name? Because talking heads like media guys.
Yeah, and he was asking Steve, what kind of message do you think this move sends to the rest of the locker room? When I guess what he's implying is that Mantha, as a cornerstone, as a guy we just signed, this sounds like a guy we're going to commit to, and we essentially traded him in the first year of that deal. So, Darren, as somebody who was actually in a locker room, is there any validity to that kind of thought? Does it feel like players, if you saw a move like that, would that make an impact on you, or it's just, well, this is our job and just nature of the business?
No, I mean, it's the same thing. Everybody's job is there's no safe job. And listen, if you ask Steve Yzerman if he didn't get that deal or whatever else, you got to understand that's the one. So when those perfect situations come through, you got to know to be able to pull the trigger on it, whether he was shopping it or not. I don't know how it went down, who called who. Right. Yeah. I'm assuming Washington called Detroit. And it's just like one of those things. But that's why the whole thing is what you're taught early. And it's anything in life. And it doesn't matter if it's hockey or work or whatever. It's what I believe. If I commit to a contract, I have to be happy with I'm committed. It's not about what anybody else is making. It's whatever. It's what am I willing to give in return. And if I make that commitment, then good, bad, or indifferent, I'm not coming back to do whatever else. Now, I thought for the same sort of reason where you would think if anybody was one of the untouchables, but what does Steve Yzerman just tell you? Nobody's pretty much untouchable unless he says they're untouchable. I get it. You want it now. It ain't now. And listen to Steve. It ain't coming soon. In fact, I don't think we make the playoffs for not next year, maybe the year after, and that's when it should be, and that's when it should start. So that's a lot of games, boys. That's a lot of days in between then. What are you going to do? You guys are going to be fucking losing your marbles.
Any validity in your mind to the online conversation of let's just put the kids in so that we have something to watch? Or is it... So it's one of those things where it's like they're going to lose, so give us something juicy.
But you know what? I'm sorry, guys. We're in a you know what? Yes, I know it's the entertainment, but you can't have it both ways. You have it the way that he wants to give it to you. It's the same thing as is Jeff Blashill the right coach? Absolutely. Why? Because Steve Yzerman says he is. I can't fast forward it. Hockey's not football. Football, you can turn it quicker. That's why the Lions will be more competitive quicker than the Wings. Should be close to around the same time. But I still think the Lions make playoffs in 2 years instead of, it's just the way it is. But the beauty is all the teams downtown are coming together at the same time. So we'll just be able to jump spot to spot with teams that we can be proud of. And teams that when we can come on here and go, well, why did he do that? Why did he do that? Whatever else. You know what? Screw Steve Yzerman. I knew it was a bad hire. Told you, Mrs. I. You know who's going to benefit the most out of this Mantha move?
Go for it.
Rasmussen.
Who's that?
Rasmussen.
Oh my God, the first game without him, yeah.
No. But Rasmussen might be that opportunity because there's minutes out there, but you get the confidence. And with the big guys, as you see, and you see the goalie set up the other night driving wide and stuff like that, that's confidence move. You know, that's where the ice time, and he could slide into, because I always said that Mantha he's a cross between Shanahan and Franzen. But, you know, Rasmussen now could be that guy that fits into some sort of that role. I wouldn't compare him like I did Mantha, but there's some other comparisons, you know, to Rasmussen. But if it's the size and it's the confidence. Oh, guess who scored?
Yeah, Verana just scored.
Yep.
With Gustav Lindstrom with the assist. How about that?
Beautiful.
Well, hey, I don't know this for the ones who want to complain. Look at your blue line. You got Biega, Lindstrom, and I'm guessing Cholowski are playing if they're playing 7D. I didn't look at the lineup, but I'm saying you're getting young guys playing, and that's the biggest thing. Look at the defense this year compared to last year. They're mobile. They move the puck. They got so the progress, not perfection, is there. Baby steps. We're in most of the games. Yeah, you get blown out every now and then, but it is what it is.
One of the fun things when we looked up just Googling Darren McCarty, I thought maybe it would have something to do with hockey, fighting. For some reason, it said you were known for singing.
Oh, I have a band, Grinder.
You absolutely do have a band. Did you think you would be known for singing on Google? That was
jokes on them.
Yeah, it had two.
Hey, listen. That's why I don't know if you know this, but
I think you're doing an
I surround myself with. I've done this in my hockey career. I've done this in my cannabis career. I've done this all the time. I just surround myself with better people, right? So that's why the band rocks. But no, it's cool because the band's COVID screwed the band from playing 12 gigs last year. So the band's ready to go. I'm ready to scream.
Is that like out of COVID? What would you most want to be a part of? Like a concert, sporting event, or I'm going to say wrestling is a little bit separate. So wrestling, sporting, or music?
Cannabis event.
Cannabis event. Well, you can kind of bring that to all of them, arguably. Yeah, but I do.
But I'm saying it's because the outdoor and the vibe and everything like that. But I think, like anything outdoors and dude, for me to go to, I can't wait to like a live wrestling event because of watching so much wrestling and missing it, and then just to know it, like it's that appreciation of what you lost.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. We're gonna, whether it's comedy or the band or whatever, it's just about the people, man. It's like I always say, is that I realize, and I'm still here, is because I'm a battery and you guys are my power. And anytime, it's the reason I'm at Woodward Sports Network doing the afternoon show. It's because when all the tailgating and all the everything opens up again, we're going to be right in the middle of it. And it's about being with you guys, and it's about having these conversations and hopefully having them. Oh no, this guy should be here. Why does he have him on the, because we care, and it's caring about, whatever else, or being at a show, rooting for, some bad guy or some good guy or whatever. It's just being, having the passion. I love it to share that passion. And it's that wing-wheeled nation that I've been able to share the highest, the highs, the lowest, the lows, but we're all still, here because of it. And the thing that is most important, and you guys are too young, but anybody who went through the 97, 98, and what I mean is the highest, the highs, and then the lowest, the lows, we all went through it together with Vladdy, with winning the cup and then losing Vladimir Konstantinov. So the emotions we all still share. So as human beings, that's what also connects us. That's why winning that year, the Believe year, is so, if you don't think that, the higher powers and things are in play like that, but that's what connects this city. And that's what connects the people. And it doesn't matter if you're there or not. That's what the culture you're all about. And that's what, that's what makes me most proud. And that's why we'll sit here and I'll make fun and joke and tell everybody how dumb they are for Stevie and stuff like that. Because you know why? Because I'm his bitch, and he's just gonna yell at me for you guys being dumb because you're my guys, and that's the way it goes. Everything still flows downhill, right?
Yeah.
So I still hear from him, but he knows. And here's the one thing: take this solace. As much as any of us care. Right. And I know that you can only care as much as you can care. He cares more. And you better believe that. And it's about bringing this back, because think about it. Even more so, this is everything of who he is created in this city by around that and the man himself. So to get this right for the Illiches and for all of us, it's sort of his destiny, his mission, and he will. Guys, he doesn't get denied.
That was beautiful, man. That was beautiful.
There you go. Bottle it up. Get it out there. Every time somebody wants to argue, you just tell them that. You just play that for them. We play that clip.
I had a couple other questions lined up in regards to like let's jump back to the 90s. I'll say we do have a couple of baby faces, but we were most certainly alive and cheering for. Mike, you were 10, I was 9, so we were there. We just weren't loud enough because we were so young. But
let me ask you, because I called that the wheelhouse age, right? So the wheelhouse age between 7 and 15, because I was 12 years old when the Tigers won in '84. Lance Pierce, my guy, and all that stuff. Yeah. So do you remember, so tell me, being 9 and 10 and now being older, what do you remember about winning and then the accident? And so as a 9 and 10-year-old, the highs and lows, because you couldn't put it into the understanding as you can now, but you still remember it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was something we actually got an opportunity to speak with Keith Gave a few months ago. And it was his documentary, I think, where it took all of the feelings I had when I was a kid, where it was just kind of I knew I had to be sad. I knew that this wasn't good, but you'd never understood the gravity of what was going on. Definitely his book opened my eyes to a lot of the emotion that I think I missed out on as a kid. But it's still something to me that as I got older and you got to see Konstantinov finally stand, I remember weeping when I saw that. And it's just you kind of grow with that story, which is it's an extremely interesting philosophical probably experiment to see, is it possible to feel something, I don't know if it's the reminiscing side of it or just missing out on the emotion, but is it possible for that kid to finally grow with something that they weren't truly connected to and still feel it? And you absolutely can. It was incredible. And for anybody who hasn't read that book or watched the documentary, get the tissues ready, even for the book. But man, it's heartbreaking. And even speaking to Keith Gave, it's still, it broke him a little bit to talk about it again, which is heartbreaking in itself, to know how painful it was. But I can't imagine. I mean, Darren, that's me answering your question. But if I was truly going to take a stab at this, I'd have to say I have no idea what it feels like to be you and to have that be your teammate that went down, outside of seeing you in the documentary and hearing your words on it. But unbelievable pain. I would take a stab at, but I would never know.
It's almost that numbing feeling, right? Where you can't believe, it could happen. You know what I mean? You can't believe that, is this real life? But the most proud I can say that I ever was of Steve Yzerman as my captain wasn't anything he did on the ice or anything. It was how he represented us at Beaumont, the press conference. And, that's why, I believe that's why we are as, championship teams are close and you have that bond, but we have this, family, we have this bond that is beyond that. I'm proof of it because I'm still alive, and it's, the hard love, the good love, but just the family aspect, that's what the Red Wing organization is all about. And I, as I consider myself an integral part of it, integral success and part of, a lot of different failures. But that's what, being part from Detroit or being, you never quit, and you fall down, you always get back up, and as long as you never quit, you're still in the game. So it's just, we all know what it's like. We ain't scared to get our hands dirty and, put in a good day of work. And that's what it's like. That's what it's all about. That's what, grind time, what the grind line's all about. We take that to heart. We thought that, to me, that's, to be known, for a guy to be known, and, you hear the production line or the Russian 5, but if you say the grind line in the NHL, who's part of the grind line. So that's pretty, those are the Hall of Fame moments or the things oh, okay, must have left an impression. Just like to leave a little bit of, feedback everywhere I go.
Your legacy is going to last forever in this town. We opened the show by reminding everybody of the cup clinching goal I mean, like, not just that, but you're turtling Claude Lemieux. How does it know, or how does it feel to know, like, that legend? It's not even like
karma's real. Karma's
Yeah.
real. You gotta act right. It just so happened that, hey, I might be biased because the big guy chose me as a star, but it's just that's what we're all. I mean, I can't. Yeah, it's you can't write a better script. You know, if you're Ford Coppola or Scorsese or Spielberg, to March 26, 97, and you know the biggest thing is got the revenge, got to beat the crap out of the biggest villain and Claude Lemieux for what he did to my boy Draper and, you know, everybody else. But the fact that I stayed in the game and scored the overtime winner, that's the moment in Wing Wheel Nation everywhere. It was proverbial. It's going to be all right. Don't know what it means. It's going to be all right. Well, you know what? Sitting here 24 years later, I got 4 cups saying, yeah, it turned out okay, fellas. And we're still talking about that shit. And, you know, that's just a part of all who we are. Dude, because if you look up to that point where sometimes you don't know if you'll ever get over that hump, but you got to keep climbing because we climbed and we slid and we climbed and we slid. We set the league record and we got knocked the fuck off the top of the mountain. We thought we should be there and we never quit. And then the worst things happen is where you lose a teammate and then you still don't quit and you're able to show that together you can accomplish anything.
Well, I was gonna spin it with new relationship, ESPN and the NHL, or I should say renewing the relationship. When is Darren McCarty? When's the Darren McCarty 30 for 30 going? Did you get that call yet for the documentary series to start up?
Not 30 for 30, but there's I think there's a few things in the works. So hopefully, hey, I liked it the other day because the second topic was a hockey highlight. So they're warming it up, right? So all this hockey, you know, I can't wait. I know John Butchergrass is stoked and Linda Cohn's stoked, like all the people that Barry Melrose, all the ones that love the hockey. We're happy to be back, and honestly, it's the best thing for the league.
I did want to get more player insight, and it's like what it is inside the locker room. And I might mix this up a little bit when we redo the podcast or when I edit the podcast. But I wanted to ask Shanahan. So we're kind of mixed into the cup conversation. Shanahan comes over, Paul Coffey, Keith Primo heading out. What goes through your mind, Darren, when you get the news about a couple of teammates are leaving, and then the next step when Shanahan takes his first step in the locker room, what is going on inside the locker room to make sure that Shanahan feels welcome, that he's going to, I know he's got his job to do, but there's still that team camaraderie that's got to come into place.
No, we were excited, man. It's hell. You know, the one thing too is I love Paul Coffey, and Primo wasn't happy, and Coffey and Scotty were butting heads, so you could see something sort of happen. But to get Brendan Shanahan, and obviously the two most excited guys in the room were me and Marty LaPointe. Right, because there's a power forward extraordinaire, and it was almost an awe because Shanny was one of the guys that you know, goal scorer, tough guy, and stuff like this. But the way that he came in, and it's what you see now, what makes him a great president in Toronto. He's able to read the room and see, you know, just when to inject different things, and really it's just more of his presence than anything. You know, and stuff that you learn, you know, about picking your spots, timing, you know, different things. I remember he used to say, I'd say, hey, Shanny, when we'd cross at the line, he'd say, throw me the puck. I'd say, where do you want it? He goes, you can't put it where I want it, so just throw it anywhere. One time and anywhere. Hey, guys, I got to tell you, I don't have a charger and I'm on 1%. So we might have to continue this later because both phones are dead and I got to go find one.
No,
I apologize.
No, we can wrap up. If I don't know if you want to throw out, if you can, any of your plugs. I know you have on 420, you've got a big event going on in Flint.
Real quick, DarrenMcCarty.com. Real quick, DarrenMcCarty.com for everything. The new merch site's up, all the hats, everything, clothes, great. Any blue check marks, real Darren McCarty or official Darren McCarty. That's Instagram, Facebook, Darren McCarty 4 on Twitter. I run that one. So let's fucking go. Chirp me. I dare you.
Oh yeah.
But follow me if you're gonna chirp me. That's all I say. Follow us.
Got you.
But I'll give it back. But I'm not as mean as Kevin Durant. Anyways, that's pretty much. You can catch me Monday to Friday, 3 to 5, Woodward Sports Network on the hook. And then other than that, yeah, I'm out and about. You can check DarrenMcCarty.com for my event schedule. Comedy tour May 7th in Royal Oak, Magic Theater.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Love that.
All right.
Yeah.
Stomping grounds.
That's
All right, cool.
Greatest. And if you're up in Flint on 420 on Tuesday, 11 to 12, I'll be at Green Galaxy up in Flint for 420.
Awesome.
So with some of the DMAC product.
Woo!
So
Darren,
fellas. Hey,
man.
we'll do this again for sure. And I love what you guys got going on. And like I said, 90% wrestling, 10% wings right now. I'll tell you when you can switch.
Beautiful. Yeah. We'll have you on for wrestling. That'd be great. Thanks, Darren.
All right.
Fantastic
All right,
to
guys.
meet you.
Appreciate
Here.
it. Thanks.